Cool. All right. Hi, guys. This is George from Dora Hacks, and welcome to the first online workshop series from Real Web3, hosted by NodeReal and Dora Hacks. Today, we are joined by Jimmy Zhao, Senior Solution Architect at NodeReal, who will help us explore enhanced APIs in the Web3 world. Before we begin, I want to give some brief background. So NodeReal's Web3 API marketplace is an open and one-stop API marketplace providing the fastest enhanced APIs in the Web3 world. From NFT, DeFi, and Debug APIs, NodeReal makes it simple for you to build blockchain applications, access all kinds of Web3 data, and scale up as you grow. We are very fortunate to be partners with NodeReal and host events like these for our communities, and we look forward to continue to working with NodeReal in the future. For anyone in the YouTube or Binance Live chat rooms, please feel free to ask questions as we go, and I'll ask Jimmy these as we go along throughout the workshop. So without further ado, let's welcome Jimmy. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, George. Yeah, it's my pleasure to. Thanks for having me here. I'm really excited to introduce our APIs and our services to the community. Yeah, since George is offline, I will introduce the platform first. So basically today, just the title size, it is the enhanced API in Web3. So for the people who are not familiar with NodeReal, I would like to make a brief introduction. Actually, the NodeReal is a one-stop provider for infrastructure provider for the Web3 world. We want to make your development in the Web3 very easy and very reliable, so that you can focus your business. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure and API platform. So we founded in 2021, and we have a lot of the great partners working together, and we want to build an open platform for APIs. So today I'm going to focus on the enhanced API part as well as our open API marketplace. So we are trying to make your Web3 world real. That means we want to simplify the Web3 development. So if you are familiar with Web3 and blockchain technology, you must be struggling for a while, because Web3 development actually is quite different from Web2 development. So Web3 usually depends on a reliable and fast API platform. So this is why we are here, to make your life easier. And different from Web2 API platform, actually maybe node service or enhanced API works as a gateway to the Web3 world. We want to connect you and the Web3 network with a reliable service. And we all know the indexing data from chain is quite complex and expensive. Sometimes it's very slow. And if you want to query the data from the blockchain directly, it is almost very, if not impossible, that would be very difficult. So that's the reason why we are here. So before we dive in, let's talk about the difference, the Web2 and Web3 infrastructure. If you are a Web2 developer, you must be familiar with the three-layer architecture, which is consisted of front end. Behind the front end, there's a load balancer, so that you can query the backend services like the file storage, backend server, or database through the API layer. So it could be the RESTful API, or GraphQL, or gRPC, right? For the Web3, I think it's quite different. Is because you need a authentication with your wallet, with your private key from the backend, and to the backend actually, which is decentralized file storage and P2P database, and as well as to the blockchain itself. So you need a node or entry point to the Web3 network. So this is quite different. So how about at this moment, I think we are still in the very early stage of Web3 development. So compared with the very popular application in the Web2 era, just like the Facebook or any other social media platform like TikTok, the user is quite maybe hundreds of even thousands, millions, active users. But for the blockchain, you can see from this diagram, the most popular, in 7-day active address is actually the 7-day active users by chain. The most popular one is just around 4 million. It's quite different, compared with the Web2. We are still in very, very early stage. That means we have a great space to develop our, Web3 applications to catch up with the Web2. It's just like the 1995 era of the Web2. So yeah, a lot of different exciting opportunities are waiting for us. So why we are here is that we are providing the fastest API service. So not only the performance, we also care about the stability, scalability, and performance. So just like a highway, so we want to, just like imagine the highway is the blockchain. We want to make sure we have the exits to have a very easy data retrieval and data read from the blockchain itself. So let's make a simple comparison between the Web 2 and Web 3. Web 2, if you are familiar with the operating system, it has different layers from the bottom to up. The lowest layer is hardware directly, and it also has some OS kernel to have system calls, and also provide some programming language libraries. For example, the C programming language library or Java or something. And on top of that, we do have the developer SDK or framework that can simplify the developer's experience. On top of that, it will be the application layer. So this is a traditional operating system architecture. So compared with the Web 2, the Web 3 is quite different. Is that it has blockchains, just like we do have the hardware. We also have the data synchronization pipelines, which reads the data from the blockchain. So it's kind of the data pre-indexing. And we do also provide the standard APIs. Standard APIs is, compared with the traditional one, is kind of the programming language libraries. It's in the JSON RPC format. And on top of that, we build our enhanced APIs and also the developer SDKs, so that you don't have to worry about the standard API. Just when you do the programming on the Web 2, you don't have to worry about the system calls or programming language libraries. So you can just build your application on top of the SDK and framework. In Web 3, we can do the similar thing. We can build our applications on top of the enhanced APIs and SDK. And of course, this is our application, the DApps. So all of these things are quite simple, and we want to make the enhanced API and SDK part as open as possible, as easy as possible, to allow you to focus on your business. Right. So this is what we do in NodeReal. Actually, NodeReal has a very close collaboration with the community, as well as our partners, like the BNB chain itself. So we build our flagship product called Meganode. So on top of that was the data platform, and we also have the toolings and enhanced API to have the support for different use cases like the GameFi or DeFi and NFT. So this kind of things we want to provide, the archive access and to provide the scalability of the API itself, and we also to make sure the data integrity. So this is our enhanced API service looks like. So how do we do it? It's quite, actually, this is a very high level diagram to explain the concept. Actually, this is a public chains. On the right hand, we do have support multiple chains at this time. So on top of the blockchains, just as I explained in the previous diagram, we build a high-speed parallel data pipeline to retrieve data from the blockchains. So through the pipeline, we have pre-indexed data. So the index data is actually saved in our database. And on top of that, we provide the mega node. It's kind of the virtual node. I will explain in detail later. So you can just think it as a virtual node running on top of the pre-indexed data to provide the data service, the RPC service. RPC actually the standard API and our enhanced API. And on top of the APIs, we also provide application tools and SDKs, etc., to allow developers, for example, the Web3 application developers, to query our API or do kind of make their operations to the blockchain, as well as we also provide the data analysis service through our data platform to allow you to do the data analysis or to make very beautiful diagram or snapshot data to your business. So this is a very high level architecture of what we do right now. And this is more technical, actually, kind of the technical architecture. So through the global network gateway, we deployed different our instances across the globe. For example, we do have the Asia Pacific region data center. We also have EU and the US region. So through the API gateway, we have a dedicated server called a coordinator. Oh, sorry. So through the coordinator, we have the virtual nodes, actually, which is very similar to the concept of the macro service. So it is a stateless services running in the Kubernetes cluster. So even one of the the virtual node is down, it doesn't matter because we have the high availability settings, and we also have the auto scaling settings to read the data from the pre-indexed data in our database. So it also a global database. That means when you do the operation to the chain, it will be replicated to different regions to make sure we have the the global accessible service. So no matter where you are, you can just query our the single URL, and the global network gateway will direct your traffic to your to the local data center to have the best performance and the lowest latency. And the replication is always real time. So when there is an operation to the blockchain or there is a new event on the chain, it will be replicated automatically in the very fast in the parallel way. So this is how we do it, and why we can just claim that we are the fastest API service you can find in the market, as well as because our innovative architecture. We have the flattened data, we have the virtualized node services with auto scaling, and the high reliability. So we can upgrade our services and clients without any downtime. So we call it zero downtime maintenance. We don't need to have a maintenance window to do the upgrade or adding new features. So now I think it's time to introduce our NodeReal API marketplace. So API marketplace is kind of the open platform we want to build on top of the our data platform, actually. So we want to allow the third party, our partners and the community developers to contribute their API into this open API marketplace. We can use the shared data platform. You don't have to worry about data indexing service by yourself. If for the community developers, we even allow them to deploy their APIs into our NodeReal platform. So you don't have to worry about infrastructure part as well. For partners, of course, you can build your own API in your data center so that you can share just with our API gateway, so that we can provide a simplified and a unified API access to our customers. So this is something I want to make it detail, is that we do have the different API type. For example, we do have the official NodeReal API. So actually, this category APIs are developed by NodeReal by ourselves, And of course, it is hosted on our API platform. And we use our pre-indexed data as well as our infrastructure. So this is the NodeReal API. And we do also have partners. So for example, we are collaborating with our the Web3 builders from other companies. We allow them to deploy their APIs to our API open marketplace. So we can share the same the business model and share with the same URL and the same read limits, etc. So of course, for the partner APIs, we do have kind of the automation testing. I mean, also monitoring to make sure the partner API follows the same SLA and SLO with our own APIs. For the community API, it's kind of basically for the solo developers or for the open source community, so that they can deploy their APIs in their data center or into our data center. So we can host for the community as well as they can do by themselves. And of course, the owner is the developer of APIs. So again, all the API listed in the marketplace, we are the gatekeeper to make sure the quality and the security. So it must pass the API performance and security testing, as well as we can provide the simplified and unified user experiences for our API consumers. So how to contribute? If you are very interested in to provide API to the community, you can just reach out to us, and we will have the contact point to help you to build your API according to the NodeReal standard. And we also help you to build the infrastructure and to evaluate what can be done, and then we can integrate together. And then you can find your API listed in our open marketplace. So next, I will focus on the enhanced API we already provided to the market. Actually, first is NFT APIs. We provided ERC 721 and 1155, these two NFT tokens. So on the right hand, you can see we already provided the collection APIs. For example, if you want to query the collection holders or a holder account, you don't have to worry about to query the standard API to get the data and aggregate the result to your customer. You can just use one single query from our API. Of course, we also provide the NFT holdings, the inventory, the NFT metadata. So the metadata, you can just use our API to query, and we can collaborate all the related information and return to you. I will do a very short live demo about the NFT marketplace very soon today, as well as we also provide the balance and accounting and total supply, this kind of things. It's very popular, and the NFT is gaining more and more popularity in the industry, and the people are very interested in it. So we want to use our NFT APIs to simplify your development very, very much. So this is an NFT API part. We also provide the fungible token APIs, just like ERC20 APIs. Again, it's very straightforward and easy to use. All of the API actually are verified and tested according to, actually this kind of API has been verified by our BSA trace, which is our Explorer on the BNB chain. So actually that BSA trace, the Explorer, is built on top of our enhanced API already. So you don't have to worry about the reliability and the performance, because it has been market proven, and we do have a lot of customers engaging with us to optimize, make the development easier every day. So from the fungible token APIs, it's very similar. You can get the balance and the holding the information, as well as you can get the token metadata and total supply, this kind of things. So you don't have to, it's all of the APIs actually are in the format of JSON RPC, so it's very similar to the standard API as well. And we also provide the transaction pools API. Actually, the transaction pool is the API is providing you a window to the mempool, so you can query the pending and ongoing transactions in the mempool, and to query the information. For example, you can get the transaction content, you can inspect, and also you can query the status. So that's the introduction. I'm going to do a very simple demo about the NFT API I just mentioned. It's on top of the NodeReal NFT metadata API. It is a Flutter application I built. Actually, I can share with my whole screen. Just give me a second. Yes. Can you see my screen? It is a very simple application built on iOS. Actually, this is a cross-platform application. It's very simple. It is an NFT Explorer. So if you enter the contract address and token ID, you will get the metadata of everything. For example, the name and the icon of the NFT. So just to query it. The logic is very straightforward and simple. So let's see how it is implemented. You will be surprised how easy it is. Okay. Yeah, let me just share my whole screen. Oh, sorry. So this is the code structure. Actually, this code has already been open sourced already, so you can find it in the GitHub in our community repository. So the structure is very simple. Actually, it's a Flutter application. So in the Flutter, if you are familiar with it, in the lab directory, there's a main.dart. It is the main entry point of the application. So it is based on the HTTP server proxy. So all the transactions are actually queries. The API queries actually is from this class. It is through the HTTP post, and this is the URI, and the function to send queries. Let's just go down a little bit. So it is a very simple one because I say it is just load. There's a function implemented here called load NFT metadata. So this is the string URL, which is our NodeReal API URL. Actually, if you have already registered with your GitHub account or Discord account, you can just get this URL through your application. After you create a new application, you will get the URL. This is the API key. Of course, you can use your own API key to do it. Through the HTTP proxy, you can just handle the URL as the parameter to make the call, right? So this is the name of the NFT, get NFT metadata. This is our NodeReal API. So there are actually 3 parameters. One is the NFT contract address and NFT token ID and the type of the NFT. Actually, this is just the ERC20 721, and all that is that is what you needed. Just one single query, and the response will be set to the to the main page of the application. So just to get the image and the name and description. That's it. It's very simple and very straightforward. So all of the data code just a single query. If you do it by yourself, maybe you need to read the block data and do the data indexing and everything. This kind of things very difficult, and sometimes even impossible if you do by yourself. Yeah, so that's it for today's sharing. So I'm gonna to stop my sharing. George, give back to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for your presentation. Now, just a question that I had personally was, what do you think the biggest challenges are with onboarding the community into these APIs?
You mean the onboarding the open marketplace of the
Yeah,
NodeReal?
yeah.
Yeah. Basically, actually, there are a couple of things we want to make sure. One is the performance testing and the security testing. So we want to guarantee the best quality of our APIs, even from the community and from our partners, right? So we are the gatekeeper. So we will work together with you to pass all our testing, no matter whether this performance testing and the security testing. Of course, the feature already is tested by the developer themselves.
Yeah. So in terms of as a developer, right?
Yes.
That's something that we can rely on NodeReal for that kind of service.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you, Jimmy. So I guess that concludes our session today. So thank you everyone for joining us, and a very special thank you to Jimmy for joining us and giving us some fantastic insight into enhanced APIs in the Web3 world. We really do appreciate your time and efforts, and for bringing us such a wonderful workshop. So we will have a series of workshops like today in the coming weeks. We've got blockchain API service quality, the 3 metrics that matter. And then we've got Aptos, how to build high performance services on Aptos and how to create and trade NFT on Aptos. And we also have a case study about a sidechain. So for the audience, if you are interested and haven't followed us on YouTube and Binance Lives, please make sure that you do so you don't miss out on any of these upcoming sessions that we're going to host for you. So thanks again for joining us today. And we really look forward to seeing you for these future Real Web3 workshops that we're going to host. So thanks, guys. And thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.
Yeah. See you.